This video is going to be a real-world test of Laowa's brand new Nanomorph Anamorphic ZOOM lenses. How's it going? Brandon Lee here. Laowa just sent me a couple of their Cinema Zoom anamorphic lenses. These are 1.5x anamorphics. This one is a 28 to 55, and I'm trying out also the H&Y VND CPL. It's magnetic, and it also can be screw-on. If you want to screw it in, it will be more secure. The lenses are pretty heavy, so I'm using a monopod, which I almost never use when I shoot. All right, let's go. Here I'm doing a shot at 28 millimeters. There's some vignetting on my screen, so I guess the 28 doesn't quite cover a full frame sensor. Now let's try zooming in. So here we are at 55. And if I zoom out, does everything stay in focus? Yes, so it appears that this lens is parfocal. And when you're using a cinema lens, it should be parfocal so that you don't have to refocus every time you zoom. I'm zoomed in all the way on the head of this bust, and I'm at near minimum focus. Now I'll just zoom out to 28, zoomed out all the way, and zoom back in. As far as I can tell, it keeps the focus. Let's just get a wide shot. I'll track with these people as they walk through. So you got some nice flare going on. Part of that is from the filter. Part of that's from the actual lens. Pincushion distortion on that tree. That's just the nature of these anamorphics. They are pincushion, not barrel distortion. So now I'm shooting directly into the sun. So this is the flare all the way zoomed out at 28. And I've got my ND filter on there, which is causing some vignetting. But the lens itself will vignette without any filter. Like if I take off my filter, it's still vignetted. Here is the silver flare option for these lenses. There's also a blue flare, but I prefer silver. It's more natural looking. Zooming in, no more vignetting, and I will defocus it now and focus on this dress in the foreground. Ooh, look at the light. Wow, perfect light. Oh, she's gonna put some herbs on there. Oh yeah, it's great. Oh, thank you so much. May I take a shot of you here? All right, now we have a nice little portrait, filming an improvised Netflix rom-com. Great, and let's move for the wide shot. Oh, that's a trailer moment, love it. So that's an example of how you might want to use this lens if you're shooting coverage quickly, because you can go from your wide shot to your sort of medium shot just by zooming in, but it's not that big of a zoom range. So if you wanted to go all the way in for a close-up, I would switch out the lens. I wouldn't try to shoot a close-up at 55, because remember, it's 50% wider because it's anamorphic. It's 50% wider than it would be if it was on a spherical lens. So 55 is actually still pretty wide. So here's the 28 to 55, this one's wide, and I'm about to change out to the 50 to 100, and they are basically the same size. I think they're exactly the same size. So they're quick to swap out. If you happen to be using a gimbal, you wouldn't need to rebalance, I don't think. They are PL mount, so I'm using a PL mount to E adapter, and the way I switch them is by taking it off like that, and then popping the other one in, and then closing it in like that, and now my lenses are switched. Now I'm taking off my magnetic VND filter, and because I have a magnetic adapter ring already on this lens, I can just drop the filter on, and we're good to go. We just found a kid's birthday party or something. Never tried to shoot this kind of stuff with an anamorphic lens before. Usually it's too chaotic and I just can't keep it framed. But because I can zoom, then if I'm ever unsure of my framing, I can just zoom out basically. Of course, I should be using a proper rig to shoot this. I shouldn't just be freehanding everything. I should have a follow focus and all that. Or even better, a follow focus operator. They're not even letting him make a bubble before they pop it. There won't be a bubble. You have to let it form first. It's physics, kids. Thank you. Hey there, I'm Brandon Lee, and welcome to my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Bootcamp. In this bootcamp, I will focus on cinematic vlogging. That means vlogging in a style that looks like a movie. So first I'm going to take you through my settings for how to get the best possible image quality, and then I'm going to show you how I film some simple scenarios like a selfie at a cafe. I'm going to show you how to shoot walk and talk selfie shots, and then I'm also going to show you how to do tripod style shots, flowing gimbal tracking shots, how to use an extension pole to get shots that look like they were done with a jib or a crane or even a drone, how to use the auto track feature, and also how to shoot in low light, because this camera has exceptional low light performance if you know how to use it. Plus, there's even going to be a POV style lesson where you can see through my eyes as I compose shots in real time. And then I'll take you into DaVinci Resolve and show you how I do my surprisingly simple color grading. Okay, so I hope you're excited. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's test out some minimum focus. Here I'm filming chickens in a coop. I'm at 100 and this is the minimum focus. Now I'm going to film some pottery making. It's a little hard to stay steady because I'm not using image stabilization. I do like the look that Anamorphic gives when filming people doing handicrafts. It just adds more texture. Here we are at minimum focus, 100 millimeters. Very hard to keep that steady at 100 millimeters in extreme close-up at minimum focus. So I've just been walking around, it's sunset time, and I noticed this sunset view. So what I'm planning on doing is zooming into the background, trying to crop out some of this plantation in the foreground and just getting a nice, panoramic shot with a longer lens here. As I did that pan, I was not breathing. That's usually how I shoot when I'm doing handheld shots without any stabilization, without a gimbal. I try to put the camera really close to my chest, just like this. I grip it from the front of the barrel of the lens. That keeps it the steadiest. I hold my breath and then I just try to move with my hips as smoothly as possible. I don't hold it out here and pan like that because it's shakier. I'm trying to rack focus from this barbed wire to the banana tree. It's such a long focus throw. No, that doesn't work. I need to use a proper follow focus if I'm going to rack focus because the focus throw on these lenses is quite long. It's made for follow focuses. It's very fine-tuned, very accurate because you have that longer throw. But if you're trying to throw by hand, you just won't really be able to do it while keeping everything steady unless you're on a tripod. I'll try to get some flare. These Laowa Nanomorph lenses tend not to really flare very much, even if you're shooting to the sun, unless the sun is really, really intense. No flare, no fun. Now the sun's basically gone, we're in the afterglow of the sunset, and the lens is zoomed in to 100 millimeters. The 50 to 100 millimeter range should be a pretty flattering range for people's faces. So it's all the portrait range, it's all the range that makes faces look good. And of course you get that nice anamorphic bokeh in the background. Now it's obviously nighttime. I switched back to my 28 to 55 lens. I'm shooting at ISO 2500 to get this shot. And now we're zoomed in to 55. Now I'm shooting an interior of this place. To keep my shadows from being crushed, I have to shoot at ISO 2500 because this is essentially an f2.8 lens. So in a restaurant interior setting like what you're seeing right now, it's a bit limited. So I'm standing here right in the center of the road. This is really bright actually. So I'm gonna take my ISO down to the base, going to 640 base ISO. Now I have a low angle looking right into the car headlights. So we should get some nice flare. There was less flare than I expected. I wish there was a little bit more, but I guess it's better to have not enough flare than too much because you can always add a little bit more in post if you want. Even though it's really dark overall, I'm getting a plenty bright image just because the A7S III has this high ISO mode. I actually stopped down a little bit. I think I'm at like f3.5 to keep some of these highlights from blowing out. Now I'm in a tuk-tuk. Yeah, it's quite dark, so I'm gonna use my high ISO of 12800. Stop down a little bit, actually. Zoomed all the way out right now. Trying to get a wide angle shot as we drive. I'm trying to go over his shoulder. We're doing this without image stabilization, so it probably won't be super steady. When you're filming B-roll in a vehicle, the coolest moments are usually when the vehicle takes a turn. Got the wireless app now on my phone, so I can put the camera above the tuk-tuk. Try to make it as steady as possible. That's what we're shooting right now. And now I'm framing up a tuk-tuk selfie. Never tried this before with the nanomorphic lens, much less a zoom lens. When I'm trying to compress the distance between objects in my frame, it's nice to use a longer telephoto lens. So it brings all these lanterns together in the frame and it makes it look even more beautiful. Anyway, okay, I think we got some good shots there. Okay, thanks for watching. If you want to know more about the lenses, there will be a link in the description. Otherwise, I will see you next time.